Okay, next technique we're going to cover is we're still on the whole use of the baton instead of being a striking instrument. Again, to reiterate the point, it just seems to me that a lot of officers have reservations about using the baton. Sometimes they have them for their own personal reasons, whether their department has given them a problem in the past of it, if they're just not confident in it, any number of things. I've found again that using it in more of an outside the box manner has worked out quite well. The last video we covered, we pretty much covered when an opponent or when a subject is in a down position, they're on their back. There's many different positions that the person can be in. Typically, they're going to be in one of a couple. They're either going to be on their back, they're going to be sitting up, or they're going to be like on their stomach or halfway on their side in kind of like an egg position, like I would call it. Most of the videos I've seen, they've been on their back or kind of on their side. Very rarely are they any other position like sitting up. I saw a video recently where 15 some odd officers come in dealing with a guy and he was sitting up at one point, he was on his back. It's kind of in every position. It was pretty obvious that the officer doing all the striking was really only intent on striking. He didn't know where to go outside of that with the baton. This next technique we're going to cover is more like an egg crate position. He's on his side, kind of giving us the topside underhook or the controlling underhook. So my opponent is going to help me demonstrate. He's going to be on his side, kind of in a protective position, which is something we might see a person giving us passive resistance. The one thing we have to remember from a ground fighting standpoint, and I teach all my recruits, that we're always looking for the top side or the high side underhook. High side underhook is always going to be the top side arm. We're trying to get that underhook on the top side so we can control him physically, whether we're passing his guard or we're around the back side. It's very important that we have the high side underhook. Not to mention, he's giving us an armbar position, which is a great position in law enforcement for control. The problem is we don't train it in a law enforcement capacity. We don't expand upon the jiu-jitsu aspect of it and use it in a law enforcement capacity. It's kind of what we're going to do today. The problem with an armbar, if the person keeps his elbow to his side, it makes it incredibly difficult to hit the armbar, to use it for a pain compliance technique. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to get all the recruits to do, is use it in a pain compliance way, not with the intent of trying to break the arm or get them to tap or whatever, because the general public doesn't know they're supposed to tap or whatever. They just understand pain, and they're supposed to comply according to how much pain we give them. So this situation, he's got his elbows tight. It would not be real easy for me to feed my arm up under here to get it, but this smaller object, it is easy to feed underneath. So if I have this, I can kind of control the egg position right here by keeping him from rolling to his stomach, keeping him from turning to his back, and I can insert it either way. It doesn't really matter. I'm left-handed, so I would insert it this way because it's the hand that it would naturally be in. It wouldn't matter if it was over here. I could insert it this way as well. So for demonstration purposes, I'll go weak hand, and we'll do it on this side. So if I'm holding here, all I've got to do is just feed my hand down and grab the bar. Lift your arm up, please. So this is basically what I've got, okay? And at the point, the more he holds it, the better it's going to be for me, because he's essentially gluing me to him now. The baton is high up in his armpit, almost incredibly difficult to get out. The only way he's going to get it out is if he extends his arm straight up, and by doing that, he's giving me the arm bar. There's nowhere for him to get out. Many of the people that are against this are going to say, well, now you can grab your baton. Yes, he can grab your baton, but as you'll see in just a minute, that's not going to do him any good because he's going to be too busy flopping trying to get rid of the pain, okay? So even if he does grab it, it doesn't do anything because I'm still going to come high above his grip, and I'm grabbing where I want to grab anyway. So I sit back at this point, pulling him into the armbar position. My arms are pinched, and I'm right here, okay? Looking at it, his arm is barred in now. Doesn't really matter what he does. It's going to cause him a great deal of pain to even hang on, okay? So I'm holding here and I'm pinched. Ideally, what I want him to do is I want him to grab his hands and hold, like he's trying to keep me from extending his arm. Because we all know for an armbar position, if he happens to let go and I'm holding the baton, all I got to do is come up his arm and roll it, and I wind up arching to break the arm or to put pressure on the elbow to get my pain compliance. But we're hoping that's not what he does. I'm going to stay high in the bend of the arm, right here, okay? And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kick this leg out and over the top. Now, I understand that this is causing a lot of pain, so try to put up with it as long as you can. It's gonna come, my leg's gonna come over the top, and it's already hurting him a lot to do this, okay? So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna probably call somebody else to help me with this here in just a second so I can really dig down on the position and show you how it works. But I'm gonna go over the top, and I'm now gonna lock my leg over, and he's already very in a lot of pain. He's in a lot of pain right here. So if I can get one more person who's got some light arms here that can handle this, we'll keep on demonstrating the position. Just lay down for me. If I got somebody else with smaller arms, and the one point to remember here is at this point, the bigger their arms are, the worse it's going to hurt. So demonstrating it on a bigger guy, you can see the tolerances are just very minimal. He doesn't have a lot of pain tolerance when it comes to that particular position. So his arm size is actually working against him. Somebody who's got some smaller arms, it's going to make it even worse because I can get the full lock. So I go over the top. Again, I'm here. He's holding his hands. Okay. Last time we had the head over here, we're in a different position because we had the opposite arm. It doesn't change anything. I always figure 4 toward the head. So I'm coming over the top, essentially like I'm sitting cross-legged. Okay. I'm over the top of his arm. I'm still holding the bar, and I'm just going to lock my hand over the top. I can even let go of it here because at this point, there's nowhere he can go. He cannot pull his arm out. I'm under his head, and if I squeeze my legs down and I get the submission, okay? I can put pain by just squeezing my legs together and he's tapping, okay? I don't have to raise up or do anything. I just squeeze my legs and I've got it. But I'm not going to let go of this right here. I'm in this position. When I'm ready to get out of this position, it's really easy for me. All I've got to do is unlock my arm and let it fall, okay? The next thing is everybody's like, well, how do you effectively get him into a handcuffing position from right here? One pair of handcuffs, please, for demonstration purposes. There's a lot of ways that we can get a person into handcuffing position, assuming that I'm right here, my handcuffs would be in the small of my back anyway. If I'm right here, I can go ahead and pull this on down, and I may even be talking to this guy while I'm doing so. I'm going to come right here. If I want to, I can lay the baton directly behind my head, and I can lay my head down on the ground. The baton is pinned underneath my head. It's in a somewhat safe area. I can come right up underneath. I'm holding his hand just like this. Straight over the top, and I lock. Now I'm going to twist his hand down because I'm preparing to move him into the handcuffing position. Notice my foot is behind his head, and that's the controlling aspect of this entire technique. So I'm going to kick him straight over, and my knee is going to come to the ground. And as I do it, this hand goes to the opposite side of my body. I've just spun over. His right hand is on the other side, not in any danger of getting to my baton. I just kick up. I'm here. I can roll over to put torque on the shoulder in the classic omoplata position if I want, or I can just go ahead from this position, grab a hold, cuffing, scoot a little bit closer to him, hand goes to the back of the neck, pull my foot out, and I'm in a good classic position to go ahead and cuff him. I can roll him up, twist him on around, and he goes ahead and he can stand on up. Okay? So a good way to effectively deal with a person from a joint lock position. One of the biggest questions I've always gotten is, well, how are you going to get him into a handcuffing position from there? It takes 4, 5, 6 guys to come in and control somebody, get them into a good handcuffing position. We only need 1, at the most 2, as long as we know what we're doing.